Well, it's Sunday morning at 10:30 and Mabel and I are off on another adventure. We are going to go check out the newly opened Haskayne Legacy Park just on the outskirts of Calgary along just south of Highway 1A. Park opened, I think last weekend was the official opening, and it's going to be, like I said, probably going to be really busy because it's a new park, so it'll be very novel for a lot of people. But we want to go check it out because we didn't want to really travel too far this weekend. We're moving or on the road next weekend. So that was kind of the plan for today. And, you know, it should be interesting. I understand now that the pathway between Glenbow Ranch Provincial Park and Haskayne Legacy Park is complete. So you can actually take that entire pathway from Cochrane to Calgary now. I don't think we're going to go quite that far. But we're going to start there, and I'm hoping there'll be some, you know, nice scenery, some fall colors, and maybe the opportunity to spot some trains. And we didn't have to go far to wait for trains. This is a eastbound mixed freight that's heading through, and it'll probably be through the park by the time we get there, but it's a good indication. We might get to see a few trains today. So it's funny, there was no signs on the highway, which I knew, yet I still drove right past the intersection and missed my turn and had to turn around at Bear's Paw. So it's basically you head south on Woodland Road. I don't know, maybe they won't put signs on the highway because I imagine the people who can afford to buy land along this stretch of the road and the city limits and whatnot probably don't like having any excess traffic. So I suspect they have a little bit of leeway with the government when it comes to signage and traffic. So there's our beautiful view as we descend down here into the Bow River Valley. Road is nicely paved. This is all new construction. I mean, this road's been here obviously for many, many years, but the improvements that they've made along the road are quite new. And yes, as I was hoping, the fall colors are out in full flight right now. It's kind of cloudy today, so they're not the most vibrant that they could be, but overall still quite nice. Now we've come to the end of our pavement and we're heading east in a little further towards the city along this gravel stretch, following right along the CP line there, so we might get to see some trains today. I'm seeing about 3 or 4 cars coming out, and I can see the main parking lot just up here to the left. Starting to see some people walking around and things, so looks like this might be an overflow parking area here, right off my left. But that main parking lot is right in there. So lots of people over on that side, but I think it's going to be a pretty spread out area. My biggest interest is in seeing if we can find the trail that heads towards Glenbow Ranch Provincial Park and take a walk along closer to the train. So I wouldn't call it super busy, but definitely a few cars here. I'm going to park out here pretty far away from everybody so that I can deal with a crazy Mabel who just wants to get outside and get on the road here. Deal with her away from crowds and or other dogs. This seems to be kind of the main building. So we got a pathway heading up that direction. So I do hear a train coming from the west. Probably the one that we had to wait for in Cochrane. So I'm going to work towards the tracks so we can see that as it goes by. As we wait for the train to get here, I'll give you my first thought, which is there is a distinct lack of signage in the park. There was one map taped inside the glass of that pavilion building, and other than that, I haven't seen any signs yet that really show me where to go, where the paths go, anything like that. So I imagine that'll come later, but right now you're kind of dumped into a figure it out for yourself kind of situation. I don't think this is the train that we waited for in Cochrane. That train had a lot more box cars up at the front end. This one has been car carriers and a lot of intermodal transport. So I think this is a different train, which doesn't surprise me with my detours and things. That other train that we waited for had probably gotten through. Let him go by. Had probably gotten through here a long time before we got here, so that's okay. We were hoping for some train action and we got it. Nice. It had one of those military colored tribute locomotives bringing up the rear. So if I'm reading this map correctly, if I head towards the city out of the parking lot, I should be eventually able to come to an at-grade crossing, which will then go down closer to the river. And then it looks like it's an out and back. I don't think this actually comes back. There's just the one crossing, but let's go check that out. That likely explains why I've seen so many more people heading this way towards the city out of the park, when for me the main attraction is the fact that you should be able to go all the way to Cochrane from here. Here's our level crossing we were expecting to reach. I have no doubt this will become a favorite spot for rail fanning. Beautiful curve down there, the old telephone poles. Very nice. View that direction, not quite as nice. Lots of these signs here telling you to stay on the pathway because of the native fescue grass. And lots of signs on the left side saying private property, no trespassing, no access to the reservoir. That reservoir there is created by the Bears Paw Dam. So we went in about 3 kilometers and we're going to turn around and head back. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of our goal, was just kind of check things out a little bit here. I mean, I don't think there's anything down there other than a nice scenic walk along the river. So we're gonna work our way back towards the parking lot. Hopefully we'll time it so that we get back to the tracks right around the time a train comes by. So we're just about back to the railway crossing. So I thought I'd kind of give you some thoughts, my thoughts on the park, especially compared to what I consider its sister park, Glenbow Ranch Provincial Park. This feels very sanitized. The pathway is all paved. There's no real, at least on this section, no gravel pathways. It's very flat. Glenbow Ranch Provincial Park has, dirt paths to explore. It has hills to climb. It's got multiple routes you can take. You can make loops. You can do all sorts of things there. It's a much more choose your own adventure park. This is very much, I think, going to appeal to the people who are out for fitness. Lots of cyclists, tons of cyclists, lots of dog walkers and that sort of thing. So I think it's going to appeal to that crowd more than to people who are looking for a natural pathway and park experience. Obviously, Mabel's got to stop the scratch here. Obviously, it's going to appeal to rail fans because there is good access to the train tracks here. But we'll have to see as it goes forward and develops. And maybe I'm not giving it a fair shake because I only did go about 3 kilometers in on the pathway. But, all the picnic areas are right up at the parking lot. There's no access to the river. It feels like it could have been so much more. So I wouldn't say I'm disappointed because it still is a very beautiful area, especially at this time of the year with the colors. It's certainly much better than if some developer had gotten their hands on it. So that much is great. I think it's going to be a valuable addition to the Calgary park system. I don't know if it'll ever emerge as a crown jewel of the Calgary parks system, but it's only been open a week, so it's probably not fair to make any judgments at this point. But, like I said, Glenbow, you've got the old Glenbow post office and some chimneys from mansions that were there. There's things besides walking. And I love walking as much as the next person, but it's nice to have a little something else mixed in there along the way. So it's kind of funny walking back here. I just heard another couple talking, and she was saying the same thing. She's like, well, I guess we'll go this way. There's really no signage here to tell you where you can go or what to see, and so it's not just me. Other people have had that same impression, and seems to me that would be something that's pretty basic to have in place when you open a park, especially one that they spent all this time preparing. But I don't know, maybe that's part of the appeal, is find your own way. I'd like to know where this path goes, or if it goes anywhere, or if it's just another in and out and back kind of thing. There's just no indication of if you can make a loop out of anything. So that part's a little bit disappointing. So it's all right. Like I said, at this time of the year especially, it's beautiful with the colors. I think it'll be a popular picnic spot. I think it'll be very popular with the fitness crowd. For myself, I won't call it a one and done, because inevitably I will be back here multiple times as it fills in with geocaches, which it will, of course, over time as more people discover it. But yeah, 6 out of 10. So what do you think? Am I being too harsh on it because it's a brand new park and hasn't had time to fully develop? Have you been here yet? Let me know in the comments. Always appreciate hearing opinions from people, especially, well, I shouldn't say especially, but even when those opinions differ from my own. In the meantime, we'll see you in the next video.